the age of 30, I received a deep calling in my heart, telling me to make a pilgrimage on foot to Jerusalem. At that point, I didn't have any other choice but to obey this calling, and I made the paradoxical realization that when you surrender to the only open door that life has given you, you may surprisingly experience the greatest possible freedom. That's how it was for me. And so I packed my backpack with the violin, a sleeping bag and the Bible and set off on foot from Vienna, Austria, where I was born, to Jerusalem. On my journey, I spent the nights sleeping in churches, monasteries, graveyards, football stadiums, abandoned houses, gas stations, bus stations, police stations. Once I slept in a stable with a goat, once on a chicken farm with 1,000 chickens, once on a bee farm hiding from the police among the bees, once in an onion factory, once in a sausage tent. And I spent many nights sleeping under the stars in desert. One thing I noticed is people's suspiciousness towards their neighbors. While walking in Austria, I was warned against the cheating Italians. While in the north of Italy, I was warned of the mafia in the south of the country. In Greece, I was warned about their hostile Turkish neighbors. In Turkey, I was warned about the aggressive Syrians. In Syria, I was warned about Jordanian terrorists. While the Arabs and the Israelis were also not very happy with each other. I arrived in Jerusalem 3 days before Christmas, quite tired, but very happy. However, in Jerusalem, I was very much in doubt about the next steps in my life. Should I take a plane back home to Europe, or should I rather walk back the same way I'd come? One evening, I watched a travel documentary about a little town called Aksum in the north of Ethiopia. Many believe that the Ark of the Covenant with Moses' 10 Commandments is being hidden there. When I watched this report, I knew this was a new calling for my life. And, while feeling a bit like Indiana Jones, I packed my backpack again and set my first footsteps in the direction of Africa. When I crossed the border into Egypt, I had very little money left. After working for almost a year, I'd spent nearly all my savings. Yet, deep in my heart, I knew that I was being taken care of, and I kept on working. My genius master plan was to sell my violin, my only sword in life, to finance my walk to Ethiopia. When I arrived in Cairo, I asked people where I could sell my violin, and I was told that there were music shops in the Muhammad Ali street in the middle of downtown. I went there, but none of the shop owners were able to pay the price for my violin, and while feeling a bit disappointed, I went back to my hotel room. Then I heard about the Cairo Opera House, and I thought, perhaps one of the musicians there would buy my violin. The Opera House in Cairo is a big theater, and I got lost in one of its many corridors until I suddenly stumbled upon the chief conductor in his office. I told him that I was looking for someone who'd buy my violin, whereas he told me that he was looking for a violin player, and he asked, wouldn't I like to audition for his orchestra? And so I did. I won the job, and 1 week later I took part in the orchestra's program, playing Mozart's magic flute in the Arabic language. One day I watched a news report about the Egyptian authorities storming the Cairo garbage areas and confiscating and culling the garbage collectors' pigs, all their livestock. This was during the outbreak of the international swine flu pandemic. I'd already heard about the Zebelin, Cairo's informal garbage collectors. One day, I watched a news report about the Egyptian authorities storming the Cairo garbage areas and confiscating and culling the garbage collectors' pigs, all their livestock. This was during the outbreak of the international swine flu pandemic. I'd already heard about the Zebelin, Cairo's informal garbage collectors. I was curious and I decided to visit the so-called garbage city, the world's largest garbage area, and my life changed forever. I'd never seen a place as dirty and as terrible. However, among pigs, smoke and fire, children eating from the garbage, dogs copulating in the streets and rats chasing cats, I found something that I'd lost many years before. In people's faces, shy, gentle handshakes, curious and radiating smiles and laughter, I found real life. By then, I'd earned enough money from my work at the opera, and I was ready to continue my walk to Ethiopia. Yet something inside me was aching to spend more time with the Zebelin in Cairo. And for days I was torn between staying faithful to my calling to walk or to follow my new dream to be with the garbage collectors. Finally, with a divided heart, I decided to continue my walk along the river Nile through Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia. When I arrived in Aksum in the north of Ethiopia 5 months later, I did not find the Ark of the Covenant with Moses' 10 Commandments. Instead, I discovered a new calling in my heart, and I decided to go back to Egypt to live my life with the Zebelin in the garbage city in Cairo.